What's up, guys? It's Jared from Jay's Gaming here, and that last clip that you just saw was me abusing some of the Shadow Priest talents. They're pretty great, in my opinion. The amount of ghosts I had go out was absolutely ridiculous. Let me see if I can see how many I had. So on that last clip you just saw, while I had a just Surrender to Madness going, I had 236 ghosts. Of those 236, 135 of them were normal, 101 of them were crits, which isn't too bad. If you were to look at this right here, this is the whole reason this is possible. Unleash the Shadows. Now, Unleash the Shadows is a very good weapon spec. The fact that it gives me a 60% chance whenever I crit to spawn a Shining Aberration is huge. That could be increased up to 90, as I only have one relic that will actually boost those, as my other two are Mind Blast, because I have the Mind Blast legendary belts right here. If that got up to 90%, there would probably been 300 or something ghosts that went out, which is pretty crazy. It's a lot of damage. The whole way that I did this, which I can try to do one more time, is this is mainly doable in BGs. Maybe not RBGs, because I did use a Lust, and I use a Potion of Prolonged Power just because it increases the stats a little bit. Surrender to Madness, I was just testing it with. You don't need to run it. I love running Legacy of the Void for the additional 5% shadow damage, and it's just way better than Surrender to Madness in my opinion. The first row really isn't important at all. Fortress of Mind I just took to boost the DPS a little bit. As Mind Blast, we are spamming off of cooldown, and considering with Surrender to Madness, we get so many seconds inside Void form that our cooldown on Mind Blast becomes like maybe 2 seconds. So when you can spam that out with the 10% increased damage, it's pretty nice. Plus the 20% insanity lets it stay in Void form a little bit longer. The second row is completely up to you. None of these are super important. Body and Soul is probably the best one here, depending on what you're trying to do. For this setup, these are the talents I've taken, but I'm just going to go through each one. Mind Bomb, not important to this setup at all. You could take Psychic Scream, it doesn't matter. Dominate Mind, please don't ever take this. just please. Unless you're doing like PvE and you need somebody to control something for help, please don't. Lingering Insanity. This one is a good one. It's not relevant for this setup entirely, but it's much better than Reaper of Souls because of the honor talents we take, and I'll get into that in a second. I suppose you could take Void Ray, but we aren't using Mind Flay a whole lot. We're mainly reapplying our dots and casting Mind Blast. We're Mind Flaying whenever we need a filler. But I guess that talent is kind of optional between the two. I take this one because after we get to a 60 or 70 stack from these, it will it'll give us a lot more haste. It'll decrease, and then we can jump immediately back into Void form, which is a lot of damage. For your level 75 talents, there are Sanolin, Auspicious Spirits, and Shadowy Insight. For this setup right here, we're going to run Auspicious Spirits, of course. Auspicious, I'm probably saying that wrong, and feel free to judge me for that. Sanolin is nice. Or Sanlayan, or again, I'm not willing to pronounce these correctly at the moment. The 20% increased damage is great. However, if we're going for the amount of shadows that you saw I had out, which was, I think it was 236, yeah, 236 of them in like, I think it was probably maybe 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. It's a lot of damage, especially since I did what is that, 177 million damage in 2 minutes, at an average of 1.6 mil DPS after dots fell off. A lot of damage, and you can do this in BGs. Again, we're going to go through that. Auspicious Spirits, they're just great. They're amazing. 100% increased damage. The max one with a crit was 86k. That could probably be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, based on mastery or whatever the hell that you have, or whatever you're spec'd for. That's just the main one to take. Senlin I could see being good, but if you want to run the ghouls, you need to run Auspicious Spirits. Level 90 talent, this one is again debatable, depending on how fast your haste stat is. My haste is currently only 23%, so I run Misery. Especially for BGs, being able to just cast Vampiric Touch once and get both dots up it's amazing. So you can just dot, tab, dot, tab, dot, tab, dot, tab, dot, tab, and you're going to have everyone on their team dotted. You can see I have a crazy amount of Insanity generation from my 2-set bonus right here, which not everyone has, I understand that, but we're going to get into the honor talents as well. So yeah, Misery is great. You can see how many ghouls I have going out right here without my PvP talents activated. You could take Power Infusion. Again, just relies on your haste stat. Kind of debatable, but I like it. Your level 100 talent is really up to you between Surrender and Legacy of the Void. I'm pretty sure you can't use Surrender in Battlegrounds or Arena, so I wouldn't recommend it. Shadow Crash you can take, but for this spec right here, the Spirit spec, we're just gonna run Legacy of the Void. It's gonna save us a lot of time getting into Void form instantly, as well as the 5% shadow damage output. Moving into honor talents, the first row is completely up to you. I hear a lot of orcs take Relentless just for the additional 20% decreased duration on them of CC. Gladiator's Medallion is what I take personally. This one right here is important, Initiation. This is why it works so well for PvP, which is why I had my mage friend here hit me a little bit so it would trigger this. The fact that I was able to, well, these are training dummies, of course, so they always say above 80% health, but if you're fighting a really good RBG team, or just even a random BG, maybe even an Ulteric Valley, if they have a lot of healers, their team's going to stay pretty high, and you'll be able to keep them all basically below 80% and then burst down a single target if you need to. Initiation is a must-take for this one, just for the insane amount of crit, and that higher crit chance will then scale over to your weapon to make your crits spawn a ghoul. Your third row of PvP talents is completely up to you to take. Preferably, I take Pure Shadow, just for the Insanity. Insanity doesn't drain for an additional 6 seconds after Dispersion ends. When you start getting really low in Insanity, just pop on Dispersion. It'll make it so that all your ghouls flying out, since we took Auspicious Spirits, they generate 3 Insanity. So if you get maybe, I don't know, 15 ghouls out while you're in your Void form for the first 6 seconds, that's 45 Insanity. Followed by the additional 6 seconds on, with this talent, it makes it so you have 12 seconds to basically get back to max Insanity, and it'll keep adding your stacks up as well for Void form, which is very helpful. Void Origins, this one's really up to you. If you're running this in an actual BG, if you're getting trained a lot, you could take Driven to Madness. If you're going to take Driven to Madness at that point, it's better to just take Edge of Insanity for the 30% flat damage. The whole reason that we're doing this spec is to run Void Origin so you can get your massive Void form stacks with the Insanity income from Auspicious Spirits. But that one is up to you. I would personally take Void Origins though to maximize the DPS of this spec. Your second to last row of PvP talents, I know some people take Mind Trauma and some people take Shadow Mania, but for this spec we're going to run Psychic Link, and the main reason for that is that, I mean, of course there's no reason for me to adopt this, but all of these things are within 40 yards. If Vampiric Touch has a 40-yard range, I'm within 40 yards of all of these. If I Mind Blast this one, it would have done 30% of that damage to all of them affected by Shadow or Pain. You can see that one, that one, that one, and that one. That would have done 30% of that Mind Blast damage to everyone, which is absolutely crazy when you're doing the spread damage with these ghouls, as you can see already. Besides that, Shadow Mania it's usually what I'd rather take if I'm not running this spec. Just having it up there gives me so much Insanity regen. Mind Trauma, on the other hand, I don't ever take. I haven't personally used it, so I can't say if it's good or bad, but just reading it, it doesn't seem like it's that great. because you could press Mind Flay and apply it, or you could just press Shadow Word Pain, and it would go on, so, I don't know. Your last line is completely up to you. Siphon is what most people will take, just for RBGs and random BGs, and just it's a pretty nice damage output, but with the patch where you can't bubble it anymore, it dies very quickly if the enemy team knows to look for it, so you're better off running either Last Word or Void Shift. Personally, I run Void Shift. It helps if one of our healers gets nuked super hard, or we don't have cooldowns up and we need to clutch life swap. That works. Last Word is also very good. But yeah, again, this entire tree is up to you for the spec. So a quick rundown of this entire spec right here is Fortress of Mind for the split Mind Blast damage with Psychic Link. We are taking Lingering Insanity so that when we fall out of Void form we can get right back into it very quickly. With the additional haste, Auspicious Spirits is the talent we're going to take so that we have a lot of Insanity income, as well as a lot of damage output. Level 90 talent, Misery, is almost crucial to this. Again, debatable on your haste spec, but in BGs your stats are assigned, so it doesn't matter. This will let you dot everyone instantly, and it is very great for mass number PvP. Legacy of the Void, crucial for this, so that you have the additional 5% shadow damage, as well as your Insanity being activated at 65 instead of 100. Initiation gives us the additional 30% crit when targets at or above 80% health. This is very crucial for this spec so that you can get the crits and get your shadow aberrations out. Void Origins, this is very important as well so that you can get your Void form out immediately and start stacking up all your dots, as well as Void Bolt to refresh your dot duration if they're all stacked. Psychic Link is the second to last PvP talent you should be taking for this spec so that you can split the damage of Fortress and Mind even better and keep the damage output across all targets very, very maximized. Alrighty, so that is the entire rundown of the Auspicious Spirit Shadow Priest build. It's not an official build by any means, it's just something I've been having a lot of fun with, and I love that in an Alterac Valley or a War Song or something where we have a huge team fight, I will actually drop frames from how many spirits are going out, so it's quite fun to use. If you haven't, I'd say definitely try it out. You'll usually always top damage charts, even if you're just a normal Shadow Priest. That's just kind of how they work. But yeah, enjoy it, and let me know if this helps you at all. So yeah, until next time.